everyone, this is Andy and welcome back to my channel. So today I have this special announcement for you guys. I think a lot of you already know that I got into SNU. Yay! I actually got into SNU for like already 3 times already, but I couldn't go because of COVID. The first time I cancelled because they changed to online classes and we couldn't enter Korea at that time, so I was like, I don't need to like waste my time and energy on this, like, so I was like, let's just cancel it so I don't have to like waste my time on an exchange that has no offline experience. So the second time, when was the second time? Oh, I think the second time they closed the border for Bangladeshis. So I had to cancel then as well. And my teacher actually, my professor back in my home university actually actually nominated me that time as well. But I was like, no, I can't go because because the visa office just closed. Like literally the day after she nominated me, there was this notice in like the embassy of South Korea in Bangladesh that they're closing the border. So I was like, okay, my luck, my bad luck. So the third time, which was last semester, so last semester I was like that I should give it another shot. Like that was like my last shot, kind of like usually they don't allow you to cancel more than 2 times, but it was already like my 3rd time. So I was like, okay, this is my last shot. I need to do this. So I applied and I got selected. I went through all the process. I got selected and everything. And back in, I think in the end of June, Bangladesh, the situation of COVID in Bangladesh just became super bad. Like, well, better than the situation of Korea right now, but it was still super bad. So they closed the border, and yeah, and so I had to like, they closed the border, and so I was like, oh, I couldn't go. So I emailed the teacher and then I said that I can't go because blah blah blah, because COVID screwed my life. So yeah, so that happened that time, and I was really sad for a long period of time and cried every day, because it's actually not only because I couldn't come to Korea. I think that was like a small part of it. It was more because I was stuck for like 2 years. I was stuck in Bangladesh for 2 years. Like, if it would have been better if I was a university student at Bangladesh. Like if I was like if everyone else was like just like me, everyone in my batch was just like me, they're not doing offline classes, they're all doing online classes, it would have been better actually, because the first semester during COVID, everyone did classes online, right? So I didn't feel that bad. Like I didn't like the experience of like online learning that much, but I didn't find it as bad. I was like, it's okay, everyone is doing this, so like it's fine, I can do this and all that. But and the teachers actually paid attention to like students who were doing online classes as well that time. But after that semester, I had to take a year gap because the teachers weren't paying attention, because all the Chinese students, like all the students who were inside the border in China, they all went back to doing their normal classes, whereas the international students, like we were online, and the international students are minorities actually. And in fact, even Korean students, they were allowed to go back to China, like the Korean international students, but no one, like no other countries were allowed to go back to China with student visa, only Korea. So yeah, and Koreans make 70% of international students in our university. So basically like there was only like 30% of international students, which is like, I don't think even 10% of students of the population, the student population in our school. So yeah, in our university. So that happened, and I had to drop the semester. I was like, I couldn't do this. I took a year gap, and and I just couldn't do anything, you know. I couldn't study, and I didn't get an internship that time, by the way. I was like so depressed. I couldn't do anything. I was just like at home, and like I was hoping like I could go to Korea, because Korea has a less strict policy regarding international students, of course, because I like K-pop and all that, but they have a less strict policy regarding international students. They were more humane to international students and like let them in the country and continue their studies. But like each time somehow like they open the borders. Like for long-term students, it's like it's not that bad actually, because for long-term students they can like Korea doesn't like just close their border. China is like they closed their border once and they never ever opened it again for international students. But in case of Korea, they close their borders when the situation gets worse for some countries, and then they open the border, and then they close the border, and then they open the border. So they do it like that. So international students, like especially who are studying long-term in Korea, they have a chance to come back. For me, I'm not exactly a long-term student. Like I'm only here for 6 months, because my university will only allow a 6 months exchange. So because of that, I could only like come here for so I could only like wait for the like June, July, or like December, January visa section. Like I could only apply visa at this period of time, or else I'll have to just like cancel my exchange all throughout. So that's why it was a little harder for me, and especially because like there in the first time, I think it was especially hard because even though the situation of Korea wasn't that bad, I think they all went back to eventually doing offline classes, even though they say that they will continue online classes at first. So I couldn't really grasp the situation back then, so I canceled my exchange, even though like I could actually go to one of the spring semesters. If I went to the last spring semester, then I think like everything would have been like fine and all that, because I always opt for the autumn semester. That's why I screwed up most of the time. And actually the one of the spring semesters where my professor nominated me, it was actually like even though the visa office closed down, even though they stopped giving out visas, they actually reopened it afterwards. So even if I didn't like cancel it that time, I could actually still come. But I didn't know it, because like it was like the beginning of COVID, no one knows what's going on. I was also like super lost. So yeah, so that happened. And so I finally came here now, which I'm super glad, because like they opened, like everything went smoothly this time. And I also told my teacher like whether I could apply again, because I canceled 2 times and I was supposed to be like if it wasn't the COVID period, I would have been blacklisted if I canceled this many times. But fortunately they didn't cancel, like, they didn't blacklist me. They actually considered the situation of the pandemic and everything, and they were like super considerate. So finally I could come here. So a lot of people think that I came to Korea through the regular method, like giving admission tests and whatnot, but no. I came here as an exchange student, because because Seoul National University, Korea University is also one of our partners, because Seoul National University and our university, Fudan University, they are partners. So every year they have this quota for students in both universities, where students from Seoul National University can go to Fudan and students from Fudan can come to SNU. So when it was my turn, we have like, I think they actually still, like in my university, we have like 3 seats for students to come to SNU. And there are also a bunch of other universities like UCLA and then UCLA, basically University of California, and then there is University of Toronto, University of Waterloo, Korea University, Japan's Tokyo University, I think, and there's also like NUS, National University of Singapore, Nanyang University, and whatnot, etc., etc. I didn't choose Singapore because Singapore is really hard. Like you need to get like a GPA of like 3.5 and plus, and I'm like, no, I can't do that. To come to Korea, it's actually a lot easier. I think it's because our ranking is higher, even though they say like the GPA, the minimum GPA you need to have is like 3. But I heard a lot of students who got into SNU for exchange even with a GPA less than 3. So what happened was we had this whole selection from our university. So they arranged this interview based on the countries that we want to go for that. So at first we have to go through the university level selection, not Korea University or Seoul National University or any other university selecting us. At first, it's our university's professors who select us. So in the first round, it's like the department selection. It goes up like that. So in the first round, it's the department selection. So from our department, they select the best students. Well, not exactly the best students. I think I'm not the best student. But yeah, maybe they select students based on like their academics, their extracurricular activities, and their personalities and how well they do in the interview. So in the first round was like our department selection. I was really happy because like there were the teachers who were interviewing us were like really nice teacher. One of them gave me an A before, and this teacher was like, he was like literally eating when we got inside to interview. He wasn't like taking this seriously, I think. Well, maybe he was taking this seriously, but yeah, I think he just wanted to like let everyone pass. He's that kind of a teacher, and he's also like this fanboy actually. So we all love doing his classes because he fanboys in class as well, and it's like super amazing, I think. So that interview went well, and I was like, yeah, I kind of knew that I will get selected, because usually from our department, if you apply for exchange, you'll get selected most of the time. In most cases, at least in like 95% of the cases, you'll get selected, because for our department, I think it's actually nice to have an experience abroad, because we need to know more about diversity, since we are from School of Journalism, and School of Journalism, basically for journalism you need to have knowledge of almost everything. Like you need to be jack of all trades, sort of like that. So after that, there's this university level interview, and I was actually super happy because in the interview they asked a question about TikTok, and as a student from the broadcasting major, as someone who reads book about the social media and how it evolved and all and whatnot. So the question was, I think the question was like, do you think, like a lot of people say TikTok is bad for kids and all that. So what do you think about it? So I was like super happy because I just read a book on social media. I'll put the name up here somewhere. So the book was about how social media was like, at first books were actually treated as bad, just the way we view TikTok nowadays. Books were viewed as the same way. Like, so I answered the question by quoting that book and all that, and showing that how knowledgeable I am regarding social media. Basically, I was actually very lucky, because if it was a question that's not like regarding social media, then I wouldn't have been able to answer this well, I think. So I was super happy. I nailed the interview, and I was like, I'm going to SNU this time. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I couldn't. So yeah, I was selected. Some of the people from other departments weren't, but I was selected. So then we had to apply to SNU. Through the channel SNU sent us, like they sent different channels for exchange student for different universities, I think. So like they know that I'm coming from this university and that whatnot. So I applied, and it was actually very easy, because people say like if you get through our university selection, then you're good to go with SNUs, because the SNU selection process is not that hard. However, the scholarship process is hard. I couldn't get the GKS scholarship, global Global Korean Scholarship. I forgot the full form, so I couldn't get that one. I think that one's really hard to get. They have like only 3 people who get it, and out of like so many exchange students, there are like 300 exchange students from all over the world, and they only give like if anyone from your country is selected, like from your nationality is selected, they don't give it to another person. Or from the country of exchange, I'm not sure exactly if it's whether it's nationality or the country of exchange. So yeah, so I didn't get that one, but I actually still have a half scholarship kind of, because my tuition fee is actually covered by the Chinese government scholarship. Very like fun, right? Because in exchange programs, you don't need to pay the tuition fee to the university you're going to exchange for. You have to pay it to your home university. So in my home university, I already have the Chinese government scholarship, so I didn't need to pay the tuition fee. I only need to like pay for the dorm fee, the food and everything, and that's really expensive actually. How expensive is that? Like, I think my monthly spending, my monthly budget is actually more than 1 lakh BDT right now. Yeah, it's super expensive. I can think, like, I never thought that I would have to spend this much. Like, it's double the budget than I had in China, in Shanghai, and Shanghai is like one of the most expensive cities, like actually the most expensive city in China, and yet like in Seoul it's like double. So yeah, more than double actually. I think more than 1 lakh. Yeah. So yeah, that is how I got into Seoul National University, the university where the boss of my idols graduated from. So yeah, I'm officially his junior. Thank you so much everyone for joining my TED Talk. Bye bye. We'll see you next time.